Welcome to Backstage, where we have all the latest news and interviews from the worlds of TV and film. I'm Claire Gregory, and joining me this week is Sky's arts and entertainment reporter Bethany Minelle.
Hiya.
And also all the way from New York, we have TV and film reviewer Stevie Wong.
Hello.
Coming up this week.
I wanted to be a photographer and travel the world.
If you've got a moment, you'll come back to the pub with me. I wanted to show you the photographs in here. Whole way of life, just gone forever.
Happy birthday.
What's that?
It's yours.
Don't want to play. Since when am I a guitarist?
I can't go on like this, living in a shoebox with a kid who hates me.
Can't wait for the day I don't have to be here.
Go on! Go back to your dad!
I need you to remember what we're doing here, what we've started.
New boy, you keep your ears open. Anyone needs anything, you get in there, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Right, check on table 8, 1 scout, 2 cod, 1 paw.
Keep pushing forward and let's do what we do.
Now, first of all, we have to talk about the biggest news to impact the film and TV industry for a wee while, the writers' strikes. Now, finally, a writers' deal has been made. That's right, isn't it, Stevie?
Yes, they have. As of this Wednesday, writers can now go back into their writing rooms. They can the first thing that's going to be affected is that talk shows are going to start again, which obviously we haven't had for a while. And so the question is, now that we can have talk shows, who's going to go on it? Because obviously the actors have yet to agree with the strike, and so they probably will be talking to each other a lot, or maybe authors will finally get on air for the first time in years, and so it'll be interesting to see who can then book for these shows.
But they got a decent deal in the end, didn't they, Bethany?
Yeah, absolutely. They pretty much got what they wanted, roughly matched. And of course, this is going to bode so well for the actors' strikes that are still going on. The SAG-AFTRA have said that actually it doesn't mean they're going to be kind of like governed by another agreement. But let's face it, the fact that there's been a blueprint in place now, and they had a lot of the same demands, pay rates, streaming residuals, and of course the juicy one in all the headlines, the safeguarding around AI. A lot of their concerns are really similar. So this has got to help. And I'm pretty right in saying that the Writers Guild, I think, has said that if the writers want to help on the picket lines for the actors, they can. So they're going to be able to sort of lend further weight. I think once we get the people sat down around the table, we should be seeing a resolution to the actors' strike quite soon.
We will, of course, keep you posted. But let's talk about something that we can actually go to cinemas and see this week. The Old Oak is out in cinemas.
Imagine if all the families mix and start to eat together. If you eat together, you stick together.
God, what? Go on.
It's like a bloody refugee camp.
And what's your mouth, pal? It's not charity. This is solidarity. This is about we'll do something together.
Directed by Ken Loach, this is sort of loosely the third in a trilogy of films set in the north of England. And this one is set in an old mining village and where Syrian refugees are being housed. And it looks at tensions between the locals and the refugees and then kind of how they potentially might come together. Now, I had a chat with Ken Loach at the premiere, and he's an absolute legendary filmmaker. It doesn't really get much more iconic in British film, but this is probably his last movie. So I had to ask him about that.
When you get really old, there comes a time when your faculties do start to wane a bit, and it's not fair to the others you're working with. It's like driving a car. I mean, there comes a point when you're a danger to the road users, and you're not sharp enough, and I don't want to get to the stage where they're saying, "Oh God, he should have packed up years ago." So I think I can't see getting around the course again. But never say never.
Bethany, what did you think of this one?
Well, we all know Ken Loach films, social realism, gritty. I'd say this is more uplifting than perhaps some of his previous films. There's something redemptive, isn't there, even about the sort of the worst character, that you can see their motivations. And that's what's so clever about his work, isn't it? He kind of gives you the context around what's going on. This isn't a film where we're presented with Syrian refugees and racist local people. This is about something more. And I definitely think the hopeful nature of this was something I really enjoyed, particularly as it is quite a dark, depressing theme in a way, but it's also something that felt really important. And I definitely felt like at the end of the film it had worked through a lot of things, and I think it shines a light on some important issues.
I mean, it doesn't get more iconic in terms of filmmakers, so go and see The Old Oak in cinemas for that reason alone. Sticking with film then, from the mind of Once and Sing Street, Apple TV Plus have bought out Flora and Son.
I was 17 with the screaming child on me like, this can't be my story. But without him, I have nothing.
How come the way things are never enough for you?
They never were. Playing the guitar, it's so sexy.
Okay.
Is that why you took it up?
Let's focus on you.
Are you coming on to me?
So Flora and Son stars Eve Hussain, who was in Bad Sisters, but is probably best known for being Bono's daughter. And she plays a woman who basically finds a guitar in a skip, wants to give it to her rebellious teenage son. He's not too interested. And she ends up taking it up with the help of Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who teaches her how to play over Zoom. Stevie, you had a chat with the director?
Yes, I just full disclosure, I'm a huge fan of John Carney. So to be able to talk to him, I kind of geeked out a little bit. And my main question was, here's a man that's done these beautiful films like Once, Begin Again, Sing Street, which uses music as like a centerpiece. And again, Flora and Son is about music that kind of bonds people together. And I wanted to ask him, how is it like for him to continuously do movies where the centerpiece is all about how music bonds everybody? This is what he had to say.
My office is more like a studio. There's a laptop, but that's only part of it. There's a piano, there's a guitar, there's a bass, and there's a Rolodex of songwriters that I know. And I walk into the room and I'm like, I'll make a film, I'll start writing something, but it's not necessarily sitting at the laptop to begin with. It's between these 4 or 5 things and what's going on in my head or what I'm reading in the paper that gets me thinking about mother and son or my own relationship with my mother.
So Bethany, what did you think of this one? A bit of kind of music delight for you?
A little bit of music delight. I mean, Eve Hewson delight. She is, grumpy as I am that her dad is a rock star. She is awesome. She's a great actress. She's just got that screen, she just comes through the screen at you literally, doesn't she? She's fantastic. I mean, I've seen the phrase heartwarming used to describe this film. That's a good phrase. It's nice. It's nice themes, nice thoughts.
Weirdly, if you like the idea of feeling good, maybe you might come back to it. We're all obsessed with feeling nice and kind of at this point, a film like this, probably months or years from now, I'd be like, oh, let's go watch that again because it was such a nice, pleasant, heartwarming film.
Effect, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. If you fancy giving it a watch, Flora and Son is on Apple TV Plus. And now let's look at TV. Boiling Point is arriving on BBC One and iPlayer.
You need to pick up the pace.
Johnny, clear the path. Would you like to be a chef or do you want to be a dishwasher? It's up to you. Take a breath.
Stay to your side.
So people will recognise this title, Boiling Point, because it's the same name as a film which starred many of the same characters and the same actors, indeed, which came out a couple of years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. This kind of follows on. I think it's about 8 months later. And it basically develops those themes. Stephen Graham does appear in it, albeit, briefly. It's kind of his character's no longer in charge of the kitchen and it's sort of passed over to somebody else, but a lot of the same characters return. I mean, this is high tension kitchen drama. It literally is Boiling Point, isn't it? And it's all going on in the theatre of the kitchen with all the chefs. We've got a new guy who is literally called New Guy throughout the whole first episode. It's quite stressful. You're stressed for him. He doesn't know what he's doing. Everything goes wrong.
The original Boiling Point, the film, is famous for the fact that it's a whole movie done on one shot. And so it felt like as a one-shot opener, it wasn't very exciting to me. But I did watch the second episode, and it's a 4-part series. And I have to say, the series gets much better because we start to develop more of the backstory of these characters. And the second you start to see their stories, you fall in love with them. And I'm telling you, this is one. Even though you're a fan of The Bear, and you probably will compare it, I'd say Boiling Point, stick with it because the payoff is very, very good.
And I would say, don't worry if you haven't seen the film, because they quite quickly catch you up on everyone and everything. And it doesn't matter if you haven't seen the movie. So, yeah, Boiling Point 1, if you want to be stressed out, check it out on BBC One and on iPlayer. And that's it from us for this week. If you've enjoyed what we've been talking about and you'd like to hear a bit more, why not download the podcast, the extended version of Backstage, which you can get by searching wherever you normally get your podcasts, or you can scan the QR code, which is on your screen now. Thanks so much to Bethany and to Stevie, and we will speak again very soon.